Ooh, we are unmuted.
Hello, hello, hello.
Give a big shout out here to Clown Vapes, our lovely sponsor. For
Vaping on some liquid today
ooh,
too.
well they can't see you yet. It's only Clown on the screen.
Oh,
So
man.
clownvapes.com for all your vaping needs. So all right, now there we are. Whoa, hold on. I can hear myself.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
It muted.
there we go. Rookie mistake. Our lovely sponsor. For,
Vaping on some
let's
vaping
see.
on some
Hold
liquid
on.
today.
They can't see you. They can't see you yet. It's only Clown on the screen.
Put
Yeah.
some light on
Get muted here. Clownvapes.com for all your vaping needs. So, all right. Okay. Now then. So now you should be able to see us, everybody. Hello, hello. Welcome to Weekday Wisdom, the spin-off here of Weekend Wisdom. We hope you're all having a great week so far. So, welcome to the show, Jay, with your nice new haircut there. And we'll start it off with the normal buffets. What you got going on?
All right, so we'll start off with this one. I got some Tyson's blend from Mr. Clown Vapes himself. Use code WISDOM for 10% off to get you some of this or some of his coils. And I got that in the Apocalypse 25 on top of the Dreamer LE
Nice.
copper. And I think it's just a Turk tip on top. Next, I got the Purge stack with another Apocalypse 25 on there. Review will probably be coming out this week. But yeah.
Nice.
Inside that, I got some Dew Time Lemon Bar, a liquid I've had for a while. Just said I'm going to pick it up and vape it because I ran out of Turkish cake already.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it only lasted a week. Or not even a week. Dang. Next, I got the Recoil Rebel. Decided to pull this thing out on top of the NATO with some Psycho Kriller that I got in today from Eric Vinyl and Vapor. Make sure y'all go check him out. And then, of course, I got the Turk V2 Turk Tuesday. I got the DHD Chop Top Stay Gold with that Unicorn Constant Contact Vert mod. And inside that, I got some PB Party. And
Heck
that
yeah.
is
All right. Yeah, I got to get some of that PB party.
all. It's so good. After this, ask James what I said when I took the first hit off of
There's no telling.
it.
So, well, what I got is the White Dreamer with the Rebirth on top with a DHD tip in there. Got the IVC uh, Parade Maker. Got the uh, Unity on the Shogun in there. Got the knocking shit off the table. The merge transmission. And I've got my little Amit MTL back out on the Armor Pro. Ended up putting that Shamrock Cookie salt in there. And I've got my, well, airflow's not going to do any good. Got the Dead Goat on the Mr. Just Right mod in there. Still got the Paradigm Wicked Berry. And I have the, I forget what this thing's called. The, whatchamacallit? Ceres Vape Bathala with the drop on there. Got that from Stan. In there, I've got the Boule Bolu hashtag Banana Land. And then I've got my Overlord with the Drop Dead all day setup. I don't go anywhere without that one. In there, of course, got the Shamrock Cookie. So hopefully I'll have some new stuff in the next few weeks. I'm thinking about getting that Asgard 30.
Nice.
Yeah.
See, I'm still debating on the 30 or the 25 or both. I don't know
Yeah.
what I.
Well, see, if I get that 30, it will force me to get the uh, copper keen because it looks good together.
Hmm.
So I've been trying to rationalize an excuse to get the copper keen. So and the Asgard 30 gives me the excuse. So, but there's a few articles out there that we wanted to touch on. Let me get my stuff pulled back up here. Over on CASA, like we said the other day, there's a lot going on. They have really stepped up their presence with calls to action. I mean, they've got Glenwood Springs, Colorado, Cheyenne, Wyoming, Sacramento County, California, Boulder, Colorado, Richmond, California. And I know some of those are a little older, but those are all like front and center on their site. So it makes it really easy for people to get them, to get the calls to action, which is what we really want. Excuse me. But they've got stuff about Indiana. Uh, there was that one thing Jay was talking about before the show. It's in Indiana heads up. If you're 18 to 20 years old, you can vote, get married, go into debt, fight for your country, but if this bill passes, you won't be able to buy very low risk vapor or alternative tobacco products that can help you quit smoking.
Hmm.
And I really like the way that was worded because it's just the truth. There's no other way around it.
Yep.
Uh, but there's a lot of good stuff out there with CASA, with Vaping Magazine. Uh, there's one more that I go to. I
I
don't.
think you go to Vaping 360 a good amount.
Yeah, I go there every once in a while, but it's been kind of few and far between there lately. I don't really know what happened.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know if they've just been busy or yeah, I don't know. But we wanted to touch on the. Let's see, where'd it go? Hold on, I've still got it up here. There it is. Let me get this
The
link.
one in Wisconsin.
Yeah, in Wisconsin. I'm about to post the link there in the chat. So there's the link to the this story that we want to talk about, and there's been other people talk about this. Wisconsin Department of Health uh, announced that a cluster of people with severe lung disease who all reported recent vaping or dabbing, which is done with vaping marijuana oils, extract, or concentrates. And CNN had reported more than 120 similar cases nationwide based on a survey of state health departments. So, vaping's been around over a decade now, or either right at it. And I think there was something the other day that said there was like 13 million people vaping. It was like 13.5 or 13.9, something along those lines.
Yeah, it was
So,
actually a tweet.
yeah, I remember seeing it. And
Here, I'll see
so,
if I
well, this article says it's practiced by 10 million or more Americans, including sometimes, well, that's the guy writing the article, said he vapes sometimes. So they turn around and they base that, they say 120 similar cases. Well, first off, let's get this out of the way. Thought somebody was coming in. Let's get this out of the way. Dabbing and vaping are two totally different things.
Oh yeah.
Uh, Even vaping CBD or THC oil, uh, I know there's the spice that's out there in, concentrates that are in that Uncle Bob fixed up in his garage and is selling them to people.
Hmm.
Uh, and those people go in and they say, why do you have so much lung damage? And they say, well, I was vaping. And and it's so generalized, and it shouldn't be. And we all know that. But what we have to do is we have to not necessarily call them out, but it needs to be better explained to the physicians, to the health departments, and things like that. They just need to be more educated, and that kind of falls on us. There's nobody out there that's going to do it with the exception of us.
Yeah.
So we
And
need to. Go
It
ahead.
was Charles A. Gardner, and it says 42 million vapors worldwide, no lung illness over 12 years. Suddenly, a cluster of cases in the Midwest, and then it talks about how it's the legal THC. And then he actually just tweeted a couple minutes ago, or no, it actually was a while back. My bad. It was February 18th. Oh, he pinned it, and it says there is 1.1 billion smokers in the world.
Mm-hmm.
If they quit, health begins to improve immediately. Smoking is the number one cause of preventable cancer, heart and lung disease. The scientists of the public health authorities and government all say vaping is safer than smoking, but yet they don't want to. Our government and FDA doesn't want to admit it, even though we've been having a lot of good articles coming out in the
Mm-hmm.
United States alone. It seems like we're still facing a battle, even though we're getting good articles out there and good studies and everything like that, which is really kind of annoying because we see it. We see that it is something that is healthier and it is something that is way better for you, but yet we don't want to go out there and actually say it publicly. And then, I mean, even like Scott Gollop said, I mean, he even said that vaping is a way better alternative, a way safer, healthier alternative. But yet, I mean, it's kind of just like, why are we still fighting it then? Why are we still trying to do all these nonsense things to where we just destroy it?
Yeah.
It
It,
makes no sense.
yeah. It doesn't make any sense from our standpoint. It makes sense to their
Mm-hmm.
standpoint because they're getting their pockets lined.
Oh
So,
yeah.
the farther you get this pushed down, and the more bans you get, the more money you get. It to me, they're working this the same way that college football works their coaches. You have a base salary of blah blah blah, but if you make it to the playoffs, you get this $400,000 bonus, and if you make it to the finals of the playoffs, you get another $400,000 bonus. So, in my opinion, and I don't have any facts to back this up or anything, but I fully believe that the people pushing this agenda are getting their pockets lined by either big tobacco, big pharma, or both.
Oh yeah.
And
Definitely.
yeah, I have no doubt in my mind. And like I said, I can't prove it. I wish I could. That may be something that the Vaping Legion can look into because
Mm-hmm.
they're really, really good with their research and how they find things out. I don't know how they find out a lot of these things, but they have their ways.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and that they're a lot of people will kind of doubt those guys. They're the kind of guy if you see them in an alley, most of the time you're going to turn around and go the opposite way.
Yeah, some of them.
Yeah, you know, it looks like they could just beat you down if they wanted to. But from what I've talked to them in the chat while they're on their channel, they seem very very nice people. Uh, they do a lot for this community, so we really really have to. I don't. I care about our shows, but their shows reach more people.
Oh yeah.
So
And the thing I really like is they do kind of what I stress on other people: educate yourself.
yep,
I think that's what they mainly do is they're just educating. They're looking for the facts. They're reading these articles, reading these studies, finding the BS in them, and also finding the good in the other studies.
yeah,
And that's the thing I really like about what they're doing with their channel is. And another thing I really like what they're doing with their channel is that they're also, we all as vapors have the questions. And some of us are afraid to say them. We don't want to assume. We don't want to look bad. We don't want to do this or that. They're not afraid to do it. If it's something where they have a question, they're going to say it. And honestly, I think that's really good because we need to start raising these questions. We don't need to look for one person to save the whole vape community. It needs to be like they always say, it needs to be all of us in a group together. We need to all come together as one big community, no matter if we don't like such and such or this person or that person. It's the exact same thing they do. They call them out one time, they drop it. They don't keep talking about it. They don't keep, oh, well, such and such doing tricks over here. We asked him to do advocacy. He said no, and they don't keep going on and on about it. What they do is they talk about it one time. They call that person out if they've tried to do it in person or through social media or whatever, messaging the person. If they don't want to comply or they want to kind of just bash them and say, "Oh, that's stupid," then they go on later on and they want to sit there and they want to repost their stuff, kind of like what uh, the Reaper was talking about. And I mean, it's just crazy how we can't get people who are getting paid by these companies to come together as a community and save what they are getting paid by, if that made any sense. But you're getting paid to review stuff, you're getting paid to show products off in tricking competitions or on videos, and we can't even get those people to come together and actually go out there and do something for the community, which is completely crazy because that's where the majority of your income is coming from, is those people.
Mm-hmm.
And the majority of your products are coming from people like that who are giving it to you for free. So, I mean, honestly, I wish we could have everyone in the community come together all at once and help fight stuff like this, like the lung disease, where they're talking about how they're vaping THC and CBD that's made in someone's meth lab or someone's little chemistry lab, his pharmaceutical place.
Right.
But I
Exactly.
mean, it's just crazy how we can't get people to come together and fight that. I mean, they might read the article, they might, oh, okay, yeah, I understand. This is pretty stupid, but yet you don't want to speak against it because
Yep.
you don't want to lose a follower or a subscriber. To me, I mean, the people who follow and subscribe to me are friends, not fans. Kind of like what Nick Bissett says. And honestly, like I have 100 and something subscribers. Those are all 100 and something friends. Those are people I've pretty much all talked to before, and I'm not out there to get 1 million subscribers. If I did, awesome. That'd be cool. It means I could reach more people with what I'm trying to preach.
Yep.
But the thing is I'm wanting to cater to the people who actually want to listen. So if it's people who are trickers or people, I don't even want to say trickers, but people who don't want to listen and they're just giving me a sub, honestly, I don't really care because I want people to be able to watch my stuff and listen. I'm not saying watch everything, but listen to the important things. Like when we have the weekday and the weekend wisdom and other things like that. That is honestly what my channel, like honestly, if I did no reviews, I'd be fine. But if I'm doing the weekday and the weekend wisdom, I'd be perfectly fine with that because that's honestly what I want my channel to mainly be, is that the whole advocacy thing.
Yep.
Because if without it, I want to be able to show off cool products. I want to be able to tell y'all what my experience is on a liquid or anything like that.
Yeah.
So that's exactly why I love doing my advocacy portions, because I'm doing it for a good cause. I'm trying to fight for something that's saved so many people's lives. And it doesn't matter if you're a tricker who used to smoke for 20 years and then you said, oh, okay, I can blow O's and I can make cool things out of it. It still saved your life.
Yep.
And that's all I have to say about that. It still saved your life, and you owe this industry, even if the industry is not going out there and doing something for itself to try to save itself, you still owe it to the industry to do that, to try to save them.
Yeah. Easy. And advocacy is not hard. I mean, it's do what?
It's very it's very stressful, but it's not hard.
Yeah. I mean, it's time consuming. Well, Jay and I will both tell you that. I spend a lot of time sitting right here reading articles, looking over things to try to find stuff uh, that we need to share with you guys. And there's a lot of stuff out there. And we try to pick the best things that we know can make a difference and can give you tools. That's the main purpose of these two shows. We want to give everybody the tools that we have to go out and talk to someone who's either a non smoker or a non vapor and help them understand what this whole community is about.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you know, back in the past, I know people used to look down on biker gangs, for example. You
Yeah.
know, they got a bad rap. I know a few people that are in a so called biker gang, and they're some of the nicest people I know.
Mm-hmm.
Buddy of mine, if I called him up and said, "Hey, I need your help," he'd be like, "Hey, I'll be there in 15 minutes." You know, it's just, you see all the things that the scary looking people do, and I don't want to put us in that scary looking people bubble.
I mean, my
But
mustache isn't too scary, is it?
yeah, no, no, the lack of beard is what's scary. You're not allowed to vape till your beard grows out. You're only allowed to use a pod.
Oh shit.
uh, no mix for you. Uh, but you know, and like Jay said, you know, and honestly, this is all that's going on my channel right now is weekday wisdom and weekend wisdom. And I, honestly, I apologize to everybody that's a subscriber to me because I haven't had the time to actually sit here and do videos. And I apologize. Over the next few weeks, hopefully everything will calm down. I've got my house stuff finished. I've actually got my internet fixed, thank goodness. And hopefully after this weekend, I have inventory at work this weekend. Hopefully that will calm down some and kind of give me a little bit more time to spend with you guys. Uh, but there's another thing I wanted to talk about real quick in this article. After it talked about the 10 million or more Americans, uh, it says while some studies indicate that there may be downsides to using e-cigarettes, most of the evidence says it's not nearly as bad for you as tobacco. And this is the first significant supposed quote unquote outbreak of vaping related illnesses I've heard of. And then it says, what's going on here? The likely answer, sometimes alluded to, but certainly not very well covered in the press, is that the outbreak is a sign of success in the FDA's war on vaping and the U.S. government's war on drugs in general. So that's to me, that's kind of what the mainstream media is pushing. They're pushing this as a success in the war on vaping and drugs, which it shouldn't be a war on vaping, in our opinion. There shouldn't be there shouldn't be any kind of war mentioned with vaping unless it's a war of vaping versus smoking. And that should be a war that's ongoing all the time. We should be out there not preaching, but just educating. That's the best word that I can use. Educating the smoker on the benefits of vaping. Uh, and it goes on to say because marijuana remains illegal in most states and because the FDA, state, and local governments have cracked down hard on the sale of e-cigarette products to minors by retailers, nobody uses marijuana and teens don't vape. And then it says, no, wait a minute, that's not quite right. Let's try this instead. Because marijuana remains illegal in most states, and because the FDA, state, and local governments have cracked down hard on the sale of e-cigarette products to minors by retailers, there's a booming black market in e-cigarette products, including juice that supposedly contains cannabis. Teens are still vaping, and teens and adults are still using marijuana. But instead of buying juice from a reputable company at a local convenience store or vape shop, they're buying it on the street. They're buying it from Uncle Bob out of his garage, where he mixed it up in the old wash tub.
Mm-hmm.
So there's where we don't want to go. And I think there's going to be more and more of that, the more and more extreme regulation that comes down on vaping. Now, sensible regulation, I can live with that. We're going to get taxed for vaping. That's a given. But sensible regulation is not flavor bans. It's not sales bans, whether it be brick and mortar or online. There is no reason for that. There's two things that can get rid of this so-called epidemic altogether. And it comes down to, number one, the FDA putting out a statement and backing up this statement by following up with the retailers and testing the retailers. We're going to send someone in that looks underage and see if they get carded. I know they can't send anyone in that is underage, but they can send someone in with a fake ID that says they're underage.
Mm-hmm.
If they come out with the product, that whoever sells that, they need to be fined extremely because, and I understand we talk about people losing their livelihoods because of this and things like that. But the people in the vape shop that are causing the issue need to be taken care of. The
Yep.
shop needs to be fined. That person needs to be fined. Uh, that person may even serve jail time.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama updated their laws as of August 1st. The fine for selling to a minor is $300. That's it. 300 bucks.
Yeah.
They
That's
need to.
that's nothing.
No, it needs to either have one or two more zeros on it. Then the
Mm-hmm.
people will understand. Okay.
Oh yeah.
The second thing that needs to be done is people got to be parents. And we rant on this all the time, but if you're a parent, or well, let me put it this way: if you're a dad or a mom, you have to be a parent to your kid.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be their friend. I know I've said this 100 times, but there's still people out there that don't understand it. When your kid is in their 20s, 30s, 40s, they're going to be your friend then. Right now, they need a parent. They need somebody to give them the direction that they need. They need somebody to get in their ear and still teach them what is right and what is wrong. They're gonna push the envelope. Every kid does it. Uh, I have a 7-year-old that pushes the envelope daily uh, of my nerves, of my stress factor. Uh, and I love him to death, but he knows how to push my buttons. I've been through. I have two kids in college, so I have a 21-year-old and I have a 19-year-old. So they went through it. The 16-year-old is still going through it, and the 7-year-old he's starting his journey. But I want to be there for them, but not as a friend. If they need to talk to me about something, I'll listen and I'll give my opinions, but I'm not going to give an opinion as a friend. I'm going to tell you straight up, here's how I see it. Here's what you did wrong. Here's what they did wrong. And if you want me to tell you how to fix it, I'll tell you how to fix it. But I've learned from my wife over these years, sometimes she don't want to know how to fix it. She just wants you to sit there and listen. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you just shut up and listen and then let them figure it out, as long as they're not doing anything illegal. So parents being parents is the ultimate way to stop your epidemic of teen vaping.
Oh yeah. Quit trying to let the government do it.
Yeah,
Because obviously it's not working, or else 18-year-olds wouldn't have been able to get a hold of it, or anyone under 18 wouldn't have been able to get a hold of these products. So obviously it's not working. So still waiting for the government to come out with their new law and do it nationwide or state to state, like it's about to happen in Texas. Obviously, isn't working. And one thing I kind of wanted to bring up, and were we done with that topic?
yeah, you're good.
One thing I wanted to bring up, and this is kind of just something. I went to my local vape shop yesterday. I went to go hang out up there and get some stuff and talk to some people. But one of the things I wanted to bring up was that for almost a year and a half, 2 years ago, he can't remember the exact date. My local brick and mortar small town of maybe, I don't know, I think there's maybe 5,000 people in our town. It's probably smaller than that, but they this little bitty small town brick and mortar that's nowhere near a big city, maybe like 30, 45 minutes away from any big city, which has anywhere from, I don't know, 30 about 30 brick and mortars in there. They have submitted their PMTAs about a year and a half to 2 years ago. So, and now I understand if you're a local little DIYer, or if you're someone who runs your own business and it's just you by yourself out of your house, and you're paying for the lab to make your liquids and all this other stuff, and you don't have the funds for it yet, you can still submit your forms. That's what they did. They submitted their forms without submitting the money yet. And he said he's still working on the money, but he's trying to figure out where all this is going first before he starts sending off money, because he doesn't want to send off money whenever he can just sell liquids that are already made. And honestly, that's a smart choice for them. But the only bad thing is that they cater to a whole lot of different crowds. And I asked him, well, how many nicotines do you actually make? He said, anything anyone wants. 24 is the highest they'll go now. Back then it was maybe a little bit higher, but now 24 is the highest they'll go. And they go anywhere from 0 to 24, anything in between. If you want 1.25, 1.5, he'll do it, because he's all about stepping people down and everything like that and getting people what they want for the proper system. So instead of giving everyone 50 milligram salt nick, 60 milligram salt nick, he's saying, hey, why don't you try a 10 to 12 milligram freebase? And honestly, I think that's really cool. But yeah, he did send off PMTAs for all bottle sizes, all nicotine levels, and everything. Eliminate some of them if it is if the price is the same for all the PMTAs and everything. But yes, all theirs are submitted. So to all the big companies out there who have not submitted theirs, but yet they're doing all these photo shoots with a Lambo and all this other stuff inside of their photo shoots, you have no excuse. If a small brick and mortar can sit down and do the time and have the paperwork and everything done that's ran by a husband and wife and not by 10 to 100 people, then there's no reason why a bigger company can't do it and why they're sitting there bitching and complaining. That's just my opinion on that. And another thing is I want to call out Texas. I know our governor's not listening, but on September 1st, we will be tobacco 21. So you have to be 21 years or older to be able to purchase a tobacco or a vapor product. And I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, only tobacco products, because it is vapor. Even though they want to put them in the same class, I'm not going to. But you have to be 21 to be able to purchase any of those products. And he had the local representative who comes by, checks all your stuff, make sure you have the proper signs and everything. Make sure you have the little calendar thing out and you have the little sign that says you have to be 18 years or older, we'll card you, and yada yada and stuff like that. He asked her, hey, do we have any of the signs for 21? Are you going to be bringing those in soon? She said, I have no clue. I haven't heard anything about it. He said, well, I haven't got anything from the actual government or from the actual state saying, hey, that it's coming in effect. He's like, all I've heard is just from like local media and social media and other things like that. So they haven't actually emailed out anything to anyone yet. And it's kind of, you're getting down to the last couple weeks, and you only got maybe 2 weeks left, and they still haven't emailed this out to everyone, which is pretty crazy. And I want to kind of call them out on that, saying, hey, well, why haven't y'all done that? That's something that's really going to hurt these shops, and these shops can get in trouble for it just because they haven't. I mean, say if it's two older people who haven't really been following the news or social media or anything like that, or any of the articles, how are they supposed to know? The people need to be doing their job and emailing this stuff out, and then they need to be letting the people know who makes the proper signs for it, so that way they can get the proper articles and facts and everything on their desk, so that way they can put the proper signs and the proper dates out for everyone. Because he still doesn't even know about the exemptions. He doesn't know if it's just military or if they're doing grandfathering or what they're doing. Because he said someone can come in here the day before September 1st and buy anything they want, and then the next day they try to come in, and I have to deny them, but I don't know if I can deny them or not. He said he doesn't know if it's sales, if it's possession. He said he doesn't know what it is. So for right now, he said once September 1st hits, he's going to be doing the 21. You have to be 21 or older to purchase. And he said it will kind of hurt them. It won't hurt them too bad, but it will kind of hurt them. And I mean, it just sucks seeing stuff like this hurt a local shop that's helped so many people.
Yep.
but it also because they can't get the proper facts from the state, and that's just total BS on the state right there.
Yeah.
You have people working for the state and for the government. Hell, there's people who work for the state, who work for Texas, and they live in DC. And that's where one of my local representatives is he's actually in DC, or the representative from my county. It lives in DC and works out of DC.
Ah,
And we still can't get people to actually get the stuff through their head to get the stuff out there to the people, so that way they can make sure they're following the law. So it's like they're setting us up for failure instead of success, and that to me is just total BS. I don't see how. I don't know if this is going on in any other state, but to me that's total BS, and I don't see how this is flying by people and people aren't really saying nothing. I plan on maybe tomorrow on my lunch going and checking out a couple of the local vape shops that I know around my work, talking to them for a minute, maybe after work go talk to them for a little bit. But this is something I really want to get in depth on with a couple more vape shops to see, hey, have y'all got anything yet? I might go to some ones that are bigger chain vape shops to see, have they heard anything? Because
yeah.
this is just pretty crazy that they haven't done that and they're setting people up for failure. And that's just BS to me. I don't see how that's flying by anyone, and
Yeah.
how no one has stepped up and said, hey, crap, we're 2 weeks away. Let's go ahead and send out the email. It
Yeah.
should have been done as soon as it got passed.
Yeah. It makes no sense because you are setting those people up for failure.
Mm-hmm.
And it may be one of those things that they want to go in after September 1st and test the people. But if they don't have
Uh-huh.
the proper information, I guarantee you at least, I would say 25% of them will fail because they're like, well, you said 21, but is people that are 19 or 20, already, are they okay? Are they not okay?
Yeah,
You know,
what's
there,
the exemption?
yeah, there
They
has
don't
to
know.
be. They have to give out the specifics at some point, and we can hope
Mm-hmm.
that it's sooner rather than later. But you never really know, and that's the sad part. Is the people aren't doing what they need to do up front, so we can know on the back end. That's the part that drives
Yeah,
me crazy. And I think
and
the go ahead.
all they have to honestly do is just type up one email and copy and paste it into thousands of hundreds of thousands of vape shops around Texas, or however many there is, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, however many. They need to start sending them out, and it's super simple and easy. I could have done it. Hey
Yeah,
guys, this is the legislative. Here's the bill that's coming out. Let me attach the bill to it. Let me attach the date it's affected, and let me just type up a simple little thing about it,
right.
pretty much a summary. And hey, you need to get in touch with your local people who give you the stickers and people who give you all the stuff for the carding, so that way you can change it from 18 to 21. I mean, it might be like 3 paragraphs and then 2 attachments. To me, I don't see how no one's done this. And maybe it's just because they're a small little shop and they haven't done nothing, or they haven't really seen nothing. But he said he checks his email daily. He said he's really getting worried up here close, because he's like, hey, I mean, I don't want someone to come in here and be like, hey, well, let me buy this, and then him get in trouble because he hasn't got the proper facts.
Right.
And that's why I said I want to go to some other shops and check too, because it's just crazy. I mean, the people who you're supposed to be able to trust, which we obviously know not to, the FDA and the government and your state government and all of that, we can't trust them. Obviously,
Yeah.
we're 2 week. I'm 2 weeks away from being tobacco 21, and we can't get the proper email out, or which is just absolutely crazy.
Yeah. It doesn't
It's
make
less
good
than 2 weeks
sense.
actually. So
Yeah.
no,
So yeah, I mean,
it's just annoying because
and hopefully they won't send it out on the day of. It's September 1st. Here's the new law, which it
yeah,
honestly wouldn't surprise me if they did because that's just the way that governments operate. But I fully agree with you. There needs to be a simple write up. Here's the new. Needs to be just a simple. Here's the point. You know, opening paragraph. Ever how many bullet points you have to have. Thank you, blah, whoever. It's simple, and I don't know why they're not doing it. Uh, doesn't make good sense to me. unless they're trying to bust a bunch of people. But I do have a feeling that the vape shops in Texas will have a lot of business on August 30th and August 31st. So more than likely, there'll be a lot of people going in there. A lot of the 18 to 20 year olds will be going in there and buying everything they can get their hands on, just
Mm-hmm.
simply because they know that they won't be able to get it. And if it's 18 to 20 year olds that haven't smoked before and they vape because they think it's cool, I don't care. But if you're the 18 to 20 year old that started smoking when you were 13 and found vaping
Mm-hmm.
now at 19 or 20 years old, you're not smoking anymore, and you're participating in this 95 to 97% healthier way of getting your nicotine. Those are the people that it's going to make a huge difference with. And I fully
Mm-hmm.
don't agree with taking it away from those types of people. The cool factor people, no, they don't need a vape anyway. Those are the people that
Yeah,
get on my
those are the
nerves.
people who you see with those are the people you see with the 60 and 50 milligram salt nick pods,
Yeah.
because that's something that the lady up there was talking about. The wife who owns it also, she was saying like there was a guy up there and his fiance, wife, whatever, girlfriend had a jewel, and she said, "Well, how old are you?" She said, "Oh, well, I'm 20 or 18, 19, something like that." And she was vaping a jewel with 50 milligram Nick salt, and she was like, "Hey, can I buy one of those new pods y'all have that are compatible for jewel?" And this was a while back, maybe 3, 4 months ago. But she asked, "Hey, can I buy one of those?" And she was like, "Well, what do you need it for?" She's like, "Oh, I'm running out of jewel pods." She's like, "Yeah, but I mean, you were never a smoker, were you?" She's like, "No, not really. I mean, I did occasionally." She's like, "Well, there's no reason for someone your age to be on a 60 milligram salt nick pod. There's no reason at all."
Right.
And the girl kind of got mad that her boyfriend buys stuff up there nonstop all the time. Every time he goes up there, he's buying something new. But she was just getting mad, and she said that she wanted to leave because of that. And I was like, honestly, I mean, she's telling the truth. I mean, if you wanted something cool, just to look cool or whatever, go buy a little pod system and put 0 milligram in there.
Mm-hmm.
Get a smoke tech whatever, and just use that. And I mean, to me, I was like, yeah, I completely understand where she's coming from on this. There's no reason for someone your age vaping a 60 milligram salt nick who hasn't been smoking before that.
Right.
And even I still don't see that as the best solution.
No,
I
not at all.
do see pod systems and everything as the best solution. Yeah, I somewhat do, but a refillable pod system. And there was a sign a long time ago saying, "Don't be a dummy by buying a jewel. This is the cost saving you'll save out of a whole 3 months or something like that." And it had a jewel with a couple packs of pods, and it was like $300, and then a
Mm-hmm.
starter kit with like maybe two pods and a couple of juices for like under $100, and
Yeah.
that was like 3 month period or something like that.
Yeah. This little Nick Salt, $13
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
for 30 meals, and it'll
Mm-hmm.
take me forever to go through 30 meals of this.
Oh yeah, I still have salt nicks that I used back whenever I was vaping salt nicks, and it I mean I never finished a whole bottle ever. I've
Yeah.
given away almost every bottle I've had except for one, just because no one wants it really. But
Yeah.
the other ones, I mean, the ones that are around 30, 24 milligrams, I maybe vaped like a quarter to a half. There's one I vaped almost all of it, but I still couldn't finish it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just I don't see how people are doing it. The 60 milligram, I wouldn't be.
Mm-mm.
I had a jewel for like a week, and I was like, all right, this is too much.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 3 milligram.
Yeah. That
And
that 50 milligram, 50 or higher, that stuff is so harsh. I
mm-hmm,
mean, I smoked for 24 years, and it hurts me to try to do it. I mean, I don't understand it, and it may be because I didn't smoke heavy duty cigarettes. I didn't smoke Cowboy Killers or uh, Camel non filters.
mm-hmm.
I could have. Woo, those things were rough. I tried one once, and that was plenty. So, but it's one of those things that people have to be sensible, and I don't see that the way they're handling everything as being sensible.
No.
Take it all away. That'll fix the whole thing. No, it won't. It's gonna make exactly the black market, and it's
Hmm.
gonna make people making it. I'm gonna make my e-liquid in this 5 gallon bucket. I had paint in it yesterday, but it'll be all right because I washed it out. There's there's nothing left
Yeah.
over. I cleaned it with mineral spirits and turpentine. We're okay. Yeah, like you're not gonna vape all that after you pour the juice out of it or
Hmm.
liquid. Juice, liquid, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. Uh,
Yeah.
I
And
I understand the thing, liquid and juice and all this other stuff, but people talk about gin and juice and all this other stuff. It should be gin and liquid if you wanted to go that far. Uh, you know,
gin and fruit concentrate.
yeah. I mean, what you vaping on? Oh, I got some of this fruit merged fruit concentrate. You
Yeah.
know,
I got some of this PG, VG, and nicotine and some
yeah,
natural, unnatural additives.
yeah, and some flavor.
Yeah. But that's
But
another thing I wanted to bring up kind of too was the people making their own liquids. And I know we kind of talked about it a little bit, but like I said, my local vape shop, they don't go through a lab. And that's one thing he said I would not be able to afford. He said
yeah,
it's really hard to, and the way that we do everything. And this is one thing. I think the shop that Heavy works at, I think they go through a lab, but they fill it up to a certain amount so that way they can add their own nicotine. I think that's what they do. I'm gonna have to call up there the tomorrow or something just to
well, I
see how they.
know that I think Paradigm is the lab, or that they may just be the distributor. I have problems with that word.
Yeah, because well,
Uh,
they have their own bottles say vaporized on there.
yeah,
It has their shop, but whenever I got it, the cap was on there, but the bottle wasn't all the way full.
yeah,
And she took it back there and said, "Oh, what nicotine level do you want?" I said 3, and she filled it up the rest of the way. And I
hmm,
think she put a little bit more VG or PG or whatever.
yeah,
And I think that's what they do. They get them made in the lab. So I might have to talk to my local vape shop. But I mean, like I go back there and I watch him make liquid sometimes. I don't get anywhere near the counter. He has a thing he puts over the counter every single day. And if anything spills on it, he takes it off, puts a new one on. But every single day when he walks in, he cleans the counter, he puts something over it, and then if something spills, he takes it off, puts a new one over it,
yeah,
keeps doing that. And every time he uses a dropper, it stays with that liquid
hmm,
or that concentrate. But
yeah,
nicotine, he keeps them separate, and he keeps. I mean, that's probably one of the cleanest places I've ever seen besides the
yeah,
lab back there. Like he doesn't let anything go back there. He doesn't let anyone. He actually has like a little thing he covers everything with his table, so that way nothing like dust and everything doesn't start collecting on it. And I mean, honestly, like the people who bash places like that, I see why if they're using dirty needles and everything, and
hmm,
they're touching it with their bare hands and they're all that. Yeah, I understand if you see that, but like my local one, they keep everything super clean and they do it for a reason because they're catering to such a different amount of ages and vape styles. Like we have people who still come in smoking little aspire tanks, who smoke or who vape a 24, a 12, or whatever they want, and it's
hmm.
kind of hard to go through a lab and do all that.
Oh yeah,
So I don't see things wrong with stuff like that, like how other people make theirs, like Clown and stuff, because I've watched him make it. Everything is super clean, and he makes sure that everything gets cleaned out before he puts it away. He doesn't say,
hmm,
"Okay, yeah, I use this. I'm going to use it for the same one. I'm going to keep it with it."
yeah,
No, they make sure they clean it out, and that stuff
hmm,
I'm okay with. But the people who are making stuff like where they're using dirty syringes and they're cross contaminating between nicotine, PG, VG, or
yeah,
flavoring, that stuff is just disgusting. Because
yeah,
first of all, you can get someone sick off of that, and second of all, it's just not good practice.
yeah,
And then
exactly.
and then it starts leading into the people who are making the stuff for the THC cartridges and stuff like that, where it's getting people sick and people making a bad name for this community.
Yeah, and that's that's simple and to the point, but that's what's happening. We're getting looped in with the THC vapors and the CBD vapors that are not doing it correctly. That are
Yeah.
not, I won't say doing it correctly, but they're not going about it the correct way. Uh,
Hmm.
you know, if CBD is illegal where you live, and THC is illegal where you live, if you get something for your vape that's supposed to have CBD or THC in it, it's probably not any good, and I wouldn't touch it at all.
Hmm.
CBD is legal here. Uh, I'm not that comfortable with it yet to even try it. I deal with anxiety and joint pain and things like that, and my dad does too. And we've talked about trying it, but we're both still kind of on the fence of do we want to, do we not want to, is it going to work, is it okay? And that's something that I think there needs to be more research put in.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of health benefits from what I've seen for THC. There's an amazing video on YouTube of a guy with Parkinson's. And I don't know if you've ever seen this,
I
but
haven't.
he got some THC. I can't remember if it was flour or if it was some kind of THC oil, but he either drank it or smoked it or vaped it, and he quit shaking altogether. He was able to sit there calmly and have a conversation like nothing was wrong. And
Hmm.
this guy, he had the uncontrollable head, that just bobbed all the time. And as
Hmm.
soon as he got done, he was just perfectly still.
I've actually seen one where a kid was taking THC, medical THC tablets,
Yeah,
and they were prescribed to them. And there was one time where they said, okay, well, this is something that we don't really trust. And they took their kid off of it, and their kid had a bad seizure in an episode and all this other stuff. Put him right back on it, and everything was fine. I think I might have seen what you have. And they were trying to get people who had the Parkinson's and other diseases to try medical marijuana, and they were letting them smoke it out of a pipe or a joint or try the
yeah,
oils or tablets. But I've actually seen that where they gave it to a kid, and a kid had it prescribed to them because that was the only thing that was helping.
right.
There is amazing things that CBD, THC can do. Like you said, CBD is still on the fence. I've dabbled in it a little bit. It is legal in Texas, so I have dabbled in it a little bit. But there's some places where I want to go somewhere like my local vape shop where they know what the hell they're doing. If they're making a regular nicotine, a salt nicotine, whatever flavorings, he knows what he's talking about. There's certain places I asked him about DIY yesterday about where should I get nicotine from to start DIYing if I wanted to. He said, "Well, if you can get it here, but it's not American made, or but they say it is, but I look at the bill of lading and it has other countries on there, so I know it's not made here." And stuff like that. And they're reputable places too that he's talking about. And I was like, dude, that's crazy.
Yeah,
And then I want to go to places like that, but I went to one by my shop or by my work that sells CBD oils, flowers, and tinctures.
hmm,
And every time I asked him about one of the flowers or the tinctures or one of the oils or anything, he's let me look at that. And he had a stack of papers that are stapled together with each what do they call it, strand or whatever,
yeah,
each one. And he's like, oh well, this one has this much cannabinoids, but it's still within the legal limit, and it is a happy one. Or oh, this one gives you energy, or oh, this one makes you lazy. I'm
yeah,
like, dude, if I come in here and I'm asking you about something that is still within the legal limit, which I'm okay with, but still has cannabinoids in it and everything to where I could fail a drug test at work and all this other stuff, I want you to be able to tell me that off the top of your damn head, not you having to look at a piece of paper. Now, if it's
right.
something you got new in, yeah, sure, whatever. Hey, I haven't got to study this one yet, but this is what it does, and this is all the facts from it, from the actual distributor and the people who grow it and everything. I'm fine with that. But if it's every single one you have and you can't tell me what it does, even after
Yeah,
I asked you, like I asked him one, And I asked him about the same one like 5 minutes later. Oh yeah, let me go back to it, and then he would do it again. I'm like, dude, you're not retaining any of this. You're just doing. I mean, I don't want to say you're just doing this for money, but it seems like you're just doing this for money.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the type of people. That's the type of places I don't want to go for stuff like that, because I mean, it is still frowned upon. Like we've seen in Texas, if you try to fly with any kind of CBD oil or flower or anything, I mean, you're probably going to get arrested.
Yeah.
And I've seen CBD flower. It smells just like cannabis. It tastes just like cannabis. It smell. I mean, the aroma when you're vaping it, smoking it is the exact same thing as cannabis. So I mean, it's pretty close looking and everything. So I mean, it's not like you can say, "Oh no, it's CBD," and then the cop go, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is. I'm gonna let you go." No, I
Yeah.
guarantee you, trying to find a way to test it,
Yep.
especially when you have a nug on you and it looks just like marijuana.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is still a gray area, but I just wish that, like we go back to on every week in Weekday Wisdom, I wish the government would just listen. I
Yep.
mean, marijuana is a really great thing for people. I'm not saying it should be recreational. I think it should be nationwide medically available.
Oh yeah.
Like my mom, like we talked about it, or no, I talked about it on Poonsas's show. My mom, if it was medically legal in Texas, she would be she would be able to get it. That's the only thing that her doctor said would work for her. All these
Mm-hmm.
pain medicines and everything, she doesn't like them. It messes with your whole internals, messes with your bowels, it messes with everything. She hates it.
Yep.
You get downfalls, you feel good, then you get downfalls, and then you get the come off of it and everything, and it's terrible. I hate seeing her like that. And he says, well, I mean, if medical was legal, I would let you do it. He's like, but you can't go out there and buy it off the street, because if you do, you're going to get kicked out of the program, because
Yeah.
you can't have an opioid in your system and a cannabinoid.
Cannabis. Yeah.
And I mean, it's just sad. It's sad that we have all these good, proper facts, but we can't even do something just medically nationwide. We
Yep.
can't even do that. Or nationwide 21 years or older to vape ban, or whatever it is. I mean, it's just sad that we have to rely on it to go state to state, instead of just, hey, you know what, we're going to do away with recreational. That's up to your own state, your own county, whatever you want to do.
Yep.
We'll make that state to state. But then medically, we're going to say it's good across the board because the FDA approves it.
Yep.
No, the FDA won't even do that, because they're like, oh, well, how are we going to make our money off of that? We haven't figured out how to do that in every state yet.
Yeah. How are we going to tax it?
Yeah, how are we going to
Yeah.
make our money, instead of how are we going to have healthier Americans who don't sit there and who have a migraine 24/7 like my mother?
Yeah.
I mean, it just sucks. It's
Yep.
terrible.
There's no way for them to fully understand, because it doesn't matter if they're not going to make anything off of it.
Yep.
And I absolutely despise that. You know, and I don't understand how it works, because the federal government still deems it as illegal altogether.
Oh yeah, the federal government can go into Colorado, California, wherever. If they're federal government,
Yeah.
federal officers, or whatever you want to call them, say if there's a cop, a state cop, a county cop, a city cop, and a federal cop. If a
Yeah.
federal cop goes into that state and sees someone smoking on their porch, or smoking inside their house, or even purchasing it and walking out with it, you can arrest them right then and there. That's the crazy thing. Is, I thought we could only do. I thought we couldn't be more lenient than the federal, but yet we're doing that. But yet it's still. Why can't we just make it completely federally?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what, in my opinion, what they need to do is the federal government needs to come back on medical marijuana, medical cannabinoids, uh, and make them legal, and then leave it
Yeah.
to the state to say, hey, we want to participate or we don't want to participate. That,
Yeah.
to me, that's the option that should be there.
Mm-hmm.
And we have, or well, Lori had a friend that she has a son that's the same age as Knox, but he has what they call Dravet syndrome. Uh, it's a very rare disease. He's fully functional physically, but he doesn't talk. He has
Mhm.
severe seizures, just randomly. And there's a lot of other stuff that goes on with it, but they actually moved to a state where CBD was legal because it just became legal here. I don't
Uh-huh.
remember if it was Georgia. It might be Georgia. Soon as it went legal in Georgia, they moved there because they could get the CBD oil for him because it made such a difference with him. And I think being a small child, uh, medically, if it's a need, then I understand it. You know, like your mom, it's something that it's a medical need that needs to be taken care of. And she's kind of getting the shaft on that, and I don't agree with that. It's one of those things that it's not something that I don't know we can fight at this moment, but it is
Yeah.
something that needs to be on people's mind. That's something that needs to be pushed and needs to be asked about. Hey, what about the health benefits of vaping, of THC, of cannabinoids, and things like that? Why not
Oh yeah.
look at the upside of it? The same thing I mentioned on Weekend Wisdom whenever we were talking about the health fair, I guess you could say, that we had, where they were almost demonizing vaping, talking about 1 in 5 high school kids have vaped or are vaping. And, that means there's 4 out of 5 that aren't. You know, look at the people that do need this, I can't say device, but this uh, drug. Uh, you know, it's the same thing as any other. I take pills for my cholesterol. You know, it's
Hmm.
the same thing. I'm putting a foreign substance in my body that has an adverse effect on what my body normally wants to do.
Yep.
That's the same thing if you look at what THC does and what my statin drug does for my cholesterol. It
Hmm.
lowers my cholesterol, which is an adverse effect of what my body normally wants to do. What's the difference? There is no difference other than they can tax my statin
Hmm.
and make money off of it. Or Big Pharma can make money off of it and then pay the federal government what they owe them.
Yeah.
So,
And you can honestly group cigarettes and medical pills in the same boat as
mm-hmm,
we could say vaping and cannabis or medical cannabis. Because if you think about it, smoking is a better alternative to, I mean, vaping is a better alternative to smoking. And you have cannabis that could be a way healthier alternative to a pharmaceutical drug, pills and everything for pain or for anything. I mean, there's so many different health options you could use it for, and it's something that isn't man-made. It's grown from the earth. It actually, you don't have to sit there and add different chemicals to make one thing to make it to where it helps with pain or it helps with your receptors. And
right.
it's, I mean, that's to me right there. That just says, hey, we can tax that somehow. I mean, I don't see how the government hasn't been able to figure out how to tax that yet and
Well,
get
I
it
mean,
illegal.
they figured it out in Colorado. They figured it out in California, in
Mm-hmm.
Washington. I'm not sure about Oregon, but I think Washington is. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
they figured out a way to tax it on the state level. So how could they not know how? How could they not figure out a way to tax it on the federal level? I'm sure that those places, that the dispensaries and everything in California, Vegas, all those places where it is legal, I'm sure the federal government gets a chunk from them in taxes.
Yeah, to
Uh,
kind of stay a little hush hush and not come into our state.
right. I'm sure there is. There has to be. You know, yeah, you can make it legal, but you got to pay this much in tax. You know, I'm
Mm-hmm.
fine with taxes. I pay taxes every 2 weeks when I get paid. You know, every year they give a big chunk of it back to me because I always pay in too much, which is their
Mm-hmm.
fault, not my fault. Uh,
Yeah.
you know, what's crazy is I claim married and all 4 kids on my federal, and I still get money back but on my state taxes, I claim single and no exceptions, and I still have to pay them every year. It's like I'm not taking anything extra. I'm claiming as a single guy with no kids, and I'm
Mhm.
still not paying you enough. To me, that ought to be your fault, not mine, if you're
Yeah,
not taking enough.
yeah.
So,
Mhm.
but we're coming down to the end here. I want to thank everybody out there in the chat. Thank you for tuning in, and
Mhm.
we hope that we gave you some good information and maybe just some stepping stones to get you out there and to help you on your advocacy journey. Anytime you have a question, please feel free to send us an email. The email is down in the description box below. Actually, here we go. Now, below there, not the Nick warning over here. So, but thank you again for being here. Oh yeah, Jay, what you got coming up on your channel?
So like I said, I had the review for the Apocalypse coming up this week. I don't know if I'm gonna do that one. See, I usually do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but this week I missed Monday, so I did today. I did the Turk juice review. So if you want to check that out, if you haven't tried any of his liquids, definitely go check out the review. I don't really get too much in depth. I go pretty fanboy on it, but Turk seemed to have liked the review, and I honestly I just wanted to share my opinion on how great the liquids are, how clean and how good tasting they are, and how settled. They're not overpoweringly sweet with sweeteners and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did that today, and then I have the Apocalypse coming up this week, and also I have the Mutant RDA from Vandy Vape and Twisted 420. So there's
Nice.
two RDAs this week, and then next week I'll be doing some more stuff. I got some more things coming in. I got a few more I got already ready for review. So I'm just testing them out, seeing how good they perform and everything. But yeah,
All
I
right.
kind of enjoy doing these reviews. It's kind of, you don't have to sit there and okay, well this and that. You get to kind of relax and hey, well this is what I think about this liquid instead of well this is how you insert your coils and try to
Yeah.
show everything. Pretty
Yeah.
much talk, and it's kind of relaxing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
A lot easier to do a liquid review.
Oh yeah. Oh
So,
yeah.
but here we are. We're here every week, 2 days, Tuesday, Saturday. Make
Mm-hmm.
sure come back on Saturday. Get you some more weekend wisdom. But thank you guys for being here. We love all of you. Everybody in chat, everybody on the replay. We will have a special reward coming up soon on one of these weekday wisdom shows. Uh, got in an argument with a distributor today because they hadn't sent it yet, but uh, it is on the way. Thank goodness. It's it's been ordered since August 4th. So yeah, I actually kind of forgot about it, and it's kind of my fault that I hadn't called them yet. But we'll that's a totally different subject. It's their fault for not sending it. How about that? We'll just stick with that story. So,
Yeah.
but we hope you see y'all Saturday. Thank you once again for tuning in, everybody in the chat and in the replay. If you ever need anything, shoot us an email uh, down in the description. And I've said it a couple of times, but I just want to make sure to get it out there. So thank y'all. Hope y'all have a good night. And always remember, let your voice be heard.
Oh yeah.
That's my mouse.